Anaxs Gaming presents the Christmas Special 2017 with the first game, Layers of Fear. Yes, I know, this is a horror game, and no, I didn't confuse Christmas with Halloween. Writer's block. It's about the worst thing that can happen to a writer. You want to write a story, but you can't quite get to the level you want to or that you know that you're capable of. This is exactly that happened to the main character in Layers of Fear. He doesn't have a name, but let's call him Vincent. Vincent is not a writer, but a painter. A painter with a painter's block. He keeps on trying to make his finest work, but it just doesn't turn out as he wants it to be. At the time the game starts, you come home to a big Victorian age mansion. After a bit of exploring, you found your atelier, and you decide just to try it one more time. One more try to make the perfect painting. In order to make this perfect painting, you need to find 6 ingredients. This is your goal in Layers of Fear, finding these 6 ingredients. You find them in the rest of the house, and along the way more and more will be revealed about Vincent's past. Traversing the house gets more and more difficult. As soon as you close the door of the atelier behind you, the room starts to change. It's a bit like a dream. Or a nightmare, so you want. Sometimes you come into a hallway and you find yourself in a dead end, so you turn around and go back, but then you realize that the hallway changed into a room with several doors. These kind of situations happen constantly and make that the quite linear game feels like an open world. Of course, there are some instances that you actually get stuck in a room and that you can only progress by solving a puzzle, but usually you go from room to room until you find the object you need for your painting. This all sounds a bit boring, but it's not. One aspect that keeps you entertained is the gorgeous graphics. The mansion is really beautifully designed and the rooms you walk through feel real. Also, the scary elements are very visually pleasing. I can't say they're pretty because they're supposed to be ugly, but they're done very well. The sounds and the music are done brilliantly. In a horror game like this, it is very important that the sound design is done well, and Layers of Fear manages to let you shiver with clever placed sound effects more than once. The music is very subtle and sometimes absent, but it's all very effective. I didn't say much about the story before, and yes, I did it on purpose. You see, the story is easy to be spoiled. On the other hand, the game keeps the story vague in most of the cases. It's clear enough that you have an idea what's going on, but never know exactly what happened. Usually, this isn't a big problem, but in this case I thought it was a negative. Why? Well, this vagueness makes that the story does not drive the game. I did not want to progress because I wanted to know what was going to happen next. Instead, I was fascinated by the shifting rooms and wanted to see what situation I was going to end up in the next room. And yeah, that made me not want to rush through the game in one sitting. After playing a chapter or 2, I put the game away to be picked up again a few days later. Another reason for this was the very nature of the game. Layers of Fear is very situational. I will explain. This game is the most fun when you play with the lights out and the headphones on. If you play during the day, most of the horror elements won't have any impact. This means that you play it mostly at night, and after an hour I often started to get tired and lost my focus. Usually I would get up, get a drink, have a small break, but with a game like this you will lose all the vibe, and without a story that drives you, I usually decided to just call it a night. Maybe you're asking yourself, is this game scary? Well, yes. There are jump scares everywhere, and the haunting music, the sudden creepy sound effects and the visuals of the old and in some places half-ruined mansion gives the game a very eerie atmosphere. As the game progresses, you have the feeling that Vince is slowly getting crazy. You see that he's losing it, and the nightmarish surroundings get more and more surreal. This is something the game does very, very well. So, what did I think of Layers of Fear in the end? Well, It's a very good and well-made horror game, way better than what you usually find. You can see that the developers really tried to make an experience that you don't forget and that doesn't feel cheap or very predictable. On the other hand, I can't help to feel that the game was very limited. You can die, but you resurrect right away and you cannot get really lost. So, I recommend it if you're in the mood for a horror game and if you're able to play it at night with your headphones on. And lastly, if you are not bothered by the lack of challenge. If you check these boxes, Layers of Fear is a great game. So, this was my review of Layers of Fear. Did you play it? Did you like it? Did you like the Christmas horror special? Let me know in the comments below, share, subscribe and like this video and stay tuned for the next one. I have more time now, so it might be sooner than you might think.